Hi, Mark. Thanks for taking part in our 6 simple questions for the Business Network. You were actually our last speaker in November when we had to go virtual again. But could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. Hi, morning, Simon. I'm Mark Dyble, and this morning I'm sitting at home in Hale, which in some ways is a little bit ironic because I was actually born literally a couple of miles down the road in Broadheath, but I have actually been all around the UK and also lived in Canada and Malaysia, but not by design. I find myself back where I grew up. So, as well as being a business coach, I'm a husband, father, son, brother, and hopefully a friend as well to lots of people. So, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, definitely. And I always say, how did you end up as Mark Dyble, the business coach? Probably that's the best way of phrasing this question.
Well, I've been a business coach for 14 years now. Prior to that, I had a fairly broad um, commercial general management career, sort of over about 25 years. Originally trained as an engineer, actually, but I did also do an MBA at the business school in Manchester. And I guess people development, leadership development is something I've always been interested in. I was a sort of person who wanted to learn things and then put them into practice and see what happened. I've always liked variety, getting involved in all aspects of a business. So latterly, I spent 5 years with Adidas. Um, we'd just taken over Reebok. There was a reshuffle, and my role got made redundant. So that was really a point in time where I wanted to move out of the corporate world and do something for myself. And I joined a franchise, Action Coach Business Coaching, and was there for 4 or 5 years, which was fantastic. Really, really good grounding in terms of not just coaching, but how to run a business. Um, so yeah, and I just feel that what I do is what I enjoy doing and what I'm good at doing, and yeah, it just ticks all the boxes in terms of doing something that's worthwhile and something that I enjoy and I'm good at.
Great, great. Now, you've attended 1 or 2 Business Network lunches, and you know we like to ask some personal stuff. So this bit is about you. So this is probably going to be a very long list, but outside business, hobbies and passions.
Hobbies and passions. Probably wouldn't be. It's not that long a list, really. I guess relatively simple things, really. So at the moment, it's nothing better than just going for a walk for a couple of hours with Hazel and a couple of friends, um, stopping off for a coffee somewhere or lunch or breakfast or something like that. So we do that a lot. Um, I like my cycling, but
Yeah,
I like doing my cycling often by myself. It's where I probably do my best thinking. So I love getting out, just cycling around the lanes around here, around Cheshire. Um, and also, I used to be quite into photography. I feel that I like seeing pictures and taking pictures, but then doing something with them. So I like turning them into postcards or creating albums for people. So I do enjoy that. And I'm currently writing a book,
yeah,
which is a bit of a novelty for me. What else do I do? I run a little group. We have what we call a TED Talk breakfast. So we meet and watch a couple of TED Talks and then discuss them whilst we're having breakfast. Also run a little Bible study group. Um, yeah, I guess what I do a lot of, I enjoy reading, listening, watching anything that's um, educational and entertaining. So I'm
yeah.
currently watching a Jordan Peterson series, which is great.
Great, great. So I knew it wouldn't be a short list. So I knew that. So I listened to a few podcasts. Doesn't have to be business, but have you got one you'd like to recommend?
Um, um, I haven't got one in particular actually. I don't. I have listened to some podcasts, but I don't listen to them on a regular
Hmm.
basis. But I do watch and listen to TED Talks. And the other thing I tend to do is when I come across a book that's been recommended, I usually look up the author online on YouTube, and invariably they've either done a TED Talk or they've been interviewed by someone. So I tend to do that. There are a couple of emails I always read. So there's a guy called James Clear who writes about habits and has recently published a book called Atomic Habits. So I always read his emails. His back catalogue of emails, of blogs, is really, really good. His style has changed recently. They're still good, but it's worth going to his website and looking through some of his old stuff as well. Yeah, there isn't one particular podcast I'd recommend.
That's fine. That's fine. Now, obviously, next year you'll be recommending your own book, but have you got a book you'd like to recommend to us?
I can only pick one, can I? I guess just looking at my shelf. So in terms of work, well, they're quite topical for me, I guess. The Atomic Habits one I think is really good. So anybody in business who wants to improve, that's a really good practical book. Pulls together lots of great ideas, practical ideas from other books. So that would be one. I think 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson is good. A couple of non-worky books. There's one called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, which I think is great, which I enjoyed reading this year. If you like your history, there's one here. Hold on.
Right.
Post-war. It's a big, thick book. I can only read a couple of pages at a time.
Yeah.
It's the history of Europe since 1945. So given Brexit, it's really topical. And it's unbelievably good. It's so amazing. It's a real magnus opus. Tony Judt, the guy who wrote it, sadly died shortly after he'd finished it. But it's a really, really great book. I've got it on audio as well, so I'd definitely recommend that.
Right, thank you. And the final question, but I've got another one after this anyway. But any words of wisdom?
Oh gosh, words of wisdom. Be content. Appreciate what you have. Be grateful for what you have. Show that you care. Do what you enjoy doing. Another one, I think, live near your friends. Have breakfast with your friends. And something I mentioned in the seminar last month is we're not here for very long, so be brave and be the person that you could be. And when life's rubbish and knocks you over, pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and keep going. And probably it might be a bit of a tough one, but if you sit down and just give your life some kind of ultimate meaning, and then on a daily basis try and live that out, try and make incremental improvements every day. I think that's almost like, it's like a North Star really that just keeps you orientated, doing the right things. So whether, just life as a whole, not just business, hopefully the two are congruent. So yeah, that's it.
I think hopefully none of us will take everything for granted, taking into account what we've done this year in 2020. But I did say there's a supplementary question, because you mentioned cycling during your passions. You're going to have to tell everybody about your cycle trip that you've just done this year.
Okay. Just a little bit. The backstory to it is I like combining things, and I like cycling. My son Jake lives in Italy, and I'm also a trustee of a local charity called Acting on Impulse, and fundraising has really been hit, like many charities this year. So I wanted to raise some money for them, and I thought, why don't I cycle to Italy to see Jake? And I could even do it for charity and for Acting on Impulse. So I spoke to Jake about it, and he said, oh, well, you could do the Via Francigena, which is an old pilgrimage route from Canterbury to Rome. So I thought, oh, that'd be pretty cool. So I'd wanted to do it in the spring. I've been planning it for sort of 12 odd months. Or not planning it, I've been thinking about it for 12 months. Obviously, lockdown scuppered that. But I got to the point where I thought, I've got to do this, I'm going to do it. So the end of September, I set off 1,200 odd miles by myself, just riding solo, unsupported. with a rough route. And oh God, how to sum it up in a few minutes. To be honest, I didn't actually enjoy lots of it. It was really hard. It was quite lonely. So it was emotionally and mentally tougher than I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be a physical challenge, and it was, but those factors were also quite hard. But it was one of those things, like lots of adventures like that, almost they get inverted when you look back on them. So what was hard at the time suddenly becomes fantastic, and it was brilliant, and it was, and people were very generous. They donated. It's about £7,000 currently, which is a big contribution to acting on impulse. I did a little video blog every day, which I enjoyed doing. It's probably the first time I really used Facebook, but it was great interacting with people remotely. It just showed how positively powerful social media platforms can be. So yeah, it was just a real adventure. It was quite tough in the sense also because just of the pandemic, with thinking, would I get through? Would borders be closed? So I felt like I was on a real mission. But it was great to know that I was going to be meeting up with Jake at the other end, and the two of us he actually lives in Pisa, so we got the train back up to Pisa, and I spent a week with him. Which was really, really good. I have to say, I haven't really been cycling since.
I'm not surprised. But I just had to mention it because it was such a feat. It was brilliant to see your posts every day, to see where you were and how wet it was at times. Oh dear. But thank you so much for taking part in this, Mark. Thank you. Okay. Goodbye.
Great. Thanks, Simon. Cheers.
Bye.